Denver Broncos, Mile High View, no commercials in as always, no bullshit. So I'm going to give you the type of information that your sports talk radio, they're not going to touch with a 10-foot pole. I don't even know if it even, this is the kind of stuff that even enters their little brains. This video is called What Vic Fangio Must Do to Succeed. Specifically Vic Fangio. But first I want to talk about what I've always talked about. This idea that, shiny new quarterbacks are going to be the savior. I call it the Cleveland Brown effect. I mean, ever since the 70s, or quite frankly, 70s, Cleveland Brown is always looking for that shiny new quarterback that never seems to come. I think the Jets may be in kind of the similar situation. And again, like I've mentioned this before, it has nothing to do with shiny new quarterbacks. Oh, wait a minute. They're the most important position on the field. Well, actually, they're all important, but you can have great quarterbacks come out. As a matter of fact, I think Matt Ryan is probably one of the best quarterbacks that have come out in a long time. I wouldn't necessarily say he's had the best coaching, the best defense around, all the pieces. But if you look through history, these dynasties, they have one common thread besides just this great quarterback. They always have good ownership, and they always have, a good GM. They always have a good coaching staff. There's no exception to that whatsoever. Plenty of good quarterbacks come out. That doesn't mean jack squat crap if everything else isn't in place. Do they have a good defense? I think with regards to the Patriots, for instance, I think one of the most unsung hero with them has always been the defense. They, even in their early years, they had a really good defense. And I think that's what carried Brady through in the early years, personally. Sure, Brady made some good plays, but I'm saying overall, the defense really was the unsung hero. And Belichick was is a defensive guy, always was. But I'm just saying, with that said, the Denver Broncos, in their current situation with the coaching, with the ownership, I think that is some chickens that are going to come home to roost down the road. This ownership question. But it kind of goes into what I'm talking about with Fangio. I thought Fangio was one of the better coaching one of the better coaching candidates out there. And I said that before he even got hired. And what he brings to the table is experience. He knows offense because he has to defend offense. Obviously, he's good defensive schemer. But I did not think that he would be dumb enough to go to the Denver Bronco organization in their current state without an owner and John Elway meddling. So, and I'm not sure, looking now what's happened with the draft and everything else, if there isn't some John Elway meddling going on still. I didn't know he would. I didn't think he would be willing to do that. So I have to question Fangio a little bit on that. But anyway, with that said, I think the keys, without a doubt, for Fangio, and there are many, many things that Fangio must do in order to succeed with the Denver Broncos. But the really key areas, obviously, is defense, where the Denver Broncos, in their fan base, will not admit it. Some of them will. Their defense has been declining ever since 2015. I don't know why the fan base thinks it's still 2015, but it has been an above-average defense. But it has declined. It's nowhere near the stellar defense that it was in 2015, not even close. And it's just been going down the tubes ever since, slowly but surely crumbling. Chris Harris Jr., I'm just assuming that was, is going to take care of itself. Chris Harris Jr. in the last year of his contract, if he plays, but I'm sure there's going to be some kind of a deal cut. So usually there is in these kind of situations, whether it's really to his liking or not, whatever. But he still is under contract, and and again, like I said, I would have preferred that they did whatever they could to make Harris happy, but also pick up Greedy Williams. I'm going to be watching Greedy Williams, and I'm the only person. Nobody in sports talk reader. That was a pick they could have picked up and had a shutdown corner. He is going to be a shutdown corner. Now he's not going to be a bruising corner at all. It's more the Deion Sanders type, of cover you like a blanket, but doesn't really like to get involved in hitting and that kind of thing. Some people don't like that, but the bottom line is whoever he's covering, they're going to be covered. And that's what he brings to the table. So, the defense is, putting together this defense. Now they got some pieces, and Fangio's going to have to make it work. But I think the number one thing that Fangio must do in order for the Broncos to even remotely succeed is to help Scangarello, because Scangarello he's a quarterback's coach. He's never developed plays. He doesn't know how to change plays on the fly. All right, Scangarello has never called plays, designed plays. He's going to need help from Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, with his experience of defending offensive plays, understands offensive plays. He understands the defenses that the Broncos will be facing. Okay? So it's going to be paramount for, at least in the beginning, that Fangio really is almost an assistant offensive coordinator. In play development and being able to change, and this is important, changing plays on the fly. Because I do not have confidence in Scangarello because of his lack of experience. Sports talk, although, he was a great quarterback coach. He was a great quarterback coach. Yeah, he was a great quarterbacks coach. That's an entirely different job than being an offensive coordinator. And you shouldn't have to explain that to anybody. So they're going to have to really work together. And that's going to be part of that head coaching hat that Vic Fangio has decided to take on at the Denver Broncos. And, that could be very successful. With Scangarello's lack of, putting together offensive schemes, I'm sure he's been around it, but, maybe this whole nonsense about Joe Flacco mentoring and all that crap, if really he's going to mentor anybody, it probably has more to do with Scangarello by far than it would be with that quarterback that they picked up, Locke. It may be more of a mentoring for his new offensive coordinator. All three of them working together. That whole mentoring thing, I don't understand even why this is even being mentioned. Let me just tell you something. I just want to touch on this mentoring bullshit. Again, no bullshit here. You know, when I played, and anybody that's worth their salt played, it's like, you know, break your leg. I don't need a mentor. I need you out of the way so I can play. I know that to anybody who hasn't played, I understand that that's kind of harsh, but, you know, I'll make another New England Patriot example. Did Brady need Bledsoe to hold his hand? No. It was like, break your leg, get out of the way so I can play. That's what the attitude you want from any of your players. You know, offensive line, you know, as you come up, maybe you learn some techniques. That's a bit different. Defensive line. But overall, you should have the confidence to, you know, forge your way. You know, forge your way. So anyway, like I said, if there any mentoring's going on with Flacco, it's going to have to probably be Scangarello. So that's the key. Is, you know, Fangio working with the offense and helping develop schemes to go into the game with, and backup plans. You know, here's their tendencies. You know, if we do this and we're successful, they tend to do this as a change-up. You know, we have to counter that. You got to be, you know, a step ahead. And we're going to see how well the Broncos make their adjustments. You know, we're also going to see, you know, how well Vic Fangio was able to string this, you know, put this defense together. And you know, here's the other thing. You know, Fangio didn't you know, have instant success when he went to the Bears. It took a little time. You know, these things are going to take a little time to develop. So, you know, there's going to have to be some patience. But I'm not 100% confident in the defense just yet. You know, if they can't just be serviceable, they really should be above average on defense. Offensively, you know, we got to see how the offensive line. I mean, that's going to be key. And I'm not the only one saying that. You know, again, I was the one that went against the tide in Broncos country and said this nonsense about the 11th best offensive line is just bogus. Nobody around in the nation has any confidence in the Denver Broncos offensive line. Now, they acknowledge Munchak, but again, you know, how long is it going to take? Is Flacco going to get injured? Is, you know, they're going to throw in, and everybody knows it, they're going to throw in Locke if that happens. A guy who's really not comfortable playing play action, you know. So, you know, there you go. So, lots of things to look at as the season goes on.